Hey, bub. This is Wolverine. You're watching Pro Teaches Noobs. This is OG Vegeta. Let's get the views to over 9,000! This is Ryuk. Watch, like, and subscribe, or die.
Hey guys, welcome to another Pro Teaches Noob. Today I'm with me, Jared.
Hell yeah.
And today we're going over something I know Jared's gonna love. Superman versus Wonder Woman.
My favorites.
Yep. Yo, you want to see them actually fight each other?
Hell yeah.
I thought you wanted to see
love a good couples quarrel.
That's not how it is.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
I know. But yeah, the battle you thought you never see. I gotta say, in this case, when we get down to the bottom, Diana's gonna be kind of in the wrong.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll evaluate that.
It'll be understandable, but you'll also be like, "Oh, come on, Diana."
Mm-hmm.
But again, look at this artwork. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to say, every time I say his name,
he is DC.
He is DC, yet no one knows it.
In fact, I think he's the one, because I have a Wonder Woman blanket over there, and I think that's him.
Yep. And I gotta say, look at this. Like, you see, she's wearing the swimsuit version, and yet she's both attractive and yet not gratuitous.
The thing is, I don't think they could pull off the swimsuit right in movies, in live action movies.
Oh no, I'm just talking about when it comes to drawing. Nowadays, you would actually really see the ass and everything.
They would make the bottom of the swimsuit more of a thong if they were doing it now.
Or they would we would see more of the back end of it rather than the side of it.
Yeah.
An untold epic of World War II by Jerry Conway and Lopez. Look at all this. Joe, I think we really found something here. I could tell the story of this.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just going to say this right now. Again, complimenting the art. I love artists that put a crap ton of detail in this because this is spectacular.
Oh, yeah, and look at all this. Like, I think we found something here. It could be the story of the century. Tell me what you think. Jerry Conway, scripter. Joe, thank you for the photos and reference you supply. I should have the art completed by the mid-April for approval by the proper authorities. Well, Joe, here are the ink page. I'm returning the reference Jose sent me. These photos were just incredible. Janet and Saul, because this is Joe Orlando as the editor. We've done what we can. Now it's up to you to clear it through Washington. Good luck. So it is my belief the truth behind Superman Wonder Woman's battle in Chicago be reserved for public release after the end of the war. At this time, it can only jeopardize our national security and perhaps negatively affect the very outcome of the war. I cannot stress this possibility too strongly, Mr. President. Both Superman and Wonder Woman have agreed to maintain absolute secrecy from what they've learned. It remains only for you to authorize a top secret security clearance for this file, and matter may be considered closed. Hopefully for all time. Henry L. Stinson, Secretary of War, Department of War, Washington, D.C. To Frank Knox, Secretary of the Navy, regarding events of June 10th, 1942.
Oh, yeah, back then, I was because back then the Department of Defense was called the Department of War.
In 1942, the island of Midway.
Okay.
We were just beginning to reorganize our forces after what the newspaper already called the Battle of Midway, when one of our aircraft carriers stationed off the island was suddenly attacked by a patrol of Japanese pilots. What we thought were Japanese fighters. To our surprise, before we could return fire, a familiar red and blue figure flashed up from Midway Island. A figure I recognized as, holy crow, it's Superman! I don't know how he got here, but man, am I glad to see him now. Just watch. He'll show those Japs a thing or three. Report 1. Coming here is Clark Kent, a reporter hot up in the story of the Midway battle, was certainly a stroke of luck. Good luck for the men of Midway. Bad luck for these Japanese pilots. If they think they can stop me with bullets, they're in for an unpleasant surprise. Nothing short of a volcanic explosion can even stun my X-ray vision, revealing something incredible. These planes aren't piloted by men, but by some sort of calculating machine. It's 1942. Computers were as yet unknown. It's like the robots my father built on Krypton, and it's positively diabolical. Oh, without pilots, the brain can take a death dive, making them perfect kamikaze. They must be experimental and costly. And if this adopted American has anything to say about it, they'll also be marked a total failure. So what do you think about this being a case of doing a story from the past, but obviously in a more modern sense, or Zen modern sensibility?
Well, the thing that I find that's pretty interesting is I remember when they deliberately said they weren't going to do like World War II stories with Superman because there is no Superman to do. But I kind of like how this is.
But that was
like
during the war. But that was during the war. So now they're going back to it. And now they're saying, no, this actually happened. It was more of a, and now that though, it was more of a less of a case of they weren't going to have They've done that before actually. All-Star Squadron was a big one.
Yeah.
No, that was a huge one. Talking about the heroes during the war.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? My super hearings picked up a sound half a league from the carrier, and my telescopic vision shows. Come on, a Japanese sub. The anti-aircraft gunners aboard the carrier will make mincemeat of those leftover robo-pilots. But this little surprise package is mine. Hey, what is it, Captain Son? What is it? Did you not see the periscope image? It is a man from the sky, the one the Americans call Superman-san. By the honor of my ancestors, he is stronger than the mind can comprehend. Release ballast, rise to the surface. Hurry, or we shall all die. Several panicky minutes later, need any help, Superman? I could use someone to take charge of these prisoners, Captain. And I'd also like an introduction to Admiral Nimitz. Something I've learned may prove important. Midway Island, secret temporary headquarters of the Pacific Ocean Areas Command. At first, he insists on joining me, and I tell you, Admiral, sometimes I get so mad at Clark, I could tear him into confetti. First, he insists on joining me for this assignment, and then when we finally see some action, he vanishes it, taking our newsreel camera with him. If I ever see that gutless no good, excuse me, Miss Lane, we've got company. Superman, I thought that was you I saw, but I couldn't. Good morning, Miss Lane. Admiral, could we talk in private, please? Of course, Superman. Miss Lane, if you'll forgive me, men, of all the conceited. Sorry to be mysterious, Admiral. This might be important. According to the captain here, that little attack outside was a diversion, designed to let a special sub slip through American defenses. Apparently, he's bringing a highly skilled Japanese agent to Mexico, where he's supposed to join in a joint German-Japanese plot to disrupt something codenamed the Manhattan Project. Tell me straight, Admiral. Are we in trouble? Yes, Superman, I think we are. If you'll hand your prisoner over to the guard, I'll contact Washington. This is a problem for the Secretary of War. And after leaving the Japanese with the island MPs, sorry I was so brusque, Miss Lane. Oh, that's all right, Superman. I'm mad at Clark, not you. Speaking of Clark, I heard he left for Washington 20 minutes ago. What? Aboard a Navy seaplane en route to Pearl Harbor. Admiral Nimitz, word from the War Department. You're to return to the States post-haste. Secretary Stinson wants to brief you personally. Admiral, I'm on my way. I'll kill Kent. I'll kill him! Because of time zone differences, it is well after 3 a.m. when Superman arrives in Washington. And the famous city on the river sparkles in the summer night like a diamond necklace. An image which conceals far more than it reveals. The way Admiral Nimitz froze at the mention of the Manhattan Project tells me I stumbled onto something big. And my summons to Washington confirms it. My question is, how big? And what's my role in it? Halt! No civilians allowed past this point, sir. Not even you, Superman. That's all right. Right, Sergeant. Superman's here on government business. Let him by. Yes, sir, Mr. Secretary. Come in, Superman. I got a great deal to show you. And unfortunately, not very much time. Hey, Freddy, if Superman wanted to break past us, how are we going to stop him? Mister, let's face it, you'd rather not know. Wonder Woman. For the Amazon known as Wonder Woman, the story begins here, only a dozen yards from the White House lawn. At the very moment Superman faced Japanese heroes over Midway. Those two men, they're being attacked. Hera, help me. I'll visit my mother on Paradise Island later. This is far more urgent. Get down, Professor. It's an ambush. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. The boys at MIT will never believe this. Oh, no. Never. If you men will allow me to help, I believe you're badly outnumbered. Lady, you just said a mouthful. Oh, glory. It's Wonder Woman. Sometimes I wonder if they all have a masculine death switch. Ever since leaving my Amazon sisters, I found myself in one senseless battle after another. Why can't men order their lives more sanely? Athena saved me. I'll never understand how. Black Hounds of Hades, what? Again, see what I was saying earlier? Yes, you see her rear, but it's not like it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that? Like,
Yeah.
I'd be sort of drawn to her backside than her rear.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I gotta say also, at least she's not just they're not focusing on her just being the secretary of the JSA.
Yeah, because that was stupid.
And the men were wearing explosives, and he and the other are human bombs. A footstep scraping a pavement brings Wonder Woman spinning around, and she sees her attackers and notices their death-like zombie stares. She understands the horrible danger and what she must do. Those men, if they are men, would kill themselves to slay me and my charges. Therefore, I must act quickly. Hey, she's lifting up a green car.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Effectively. Smoke chokes the afternoon like a brutal fog. But as it clears, the sedan drawing away from the curb. It was here all along, watching. Wonder Woman, on behalf of the FBI, thank you. Now, if you'll help me fill a report weekend, my apologies, friend, but I have something more important to do. Specifically, to use the current idiom, follow that car. Man, what a woman. Guided telepathically, the Amazon's invisible robot plane and paces the mysterious black sedan, trailing to the Washington airport. Oh, she's riding on her invisible plane.
Okay, that makes sense.
Where Wonder Woman pauses for a phone call of personal importance. Hello, Major Trevor? This is Yeoman Prince. I realized we were scheduled to review the budget file this evening, but I'm afraid I can't make it. Something's come up. Yes, Major. I know I'll tell you about Steve.
Yeah.
But isn't when she was a yeoman, she still had the Diana Prince disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And she worked under him.
Mm-hmm.
So she would have to.
Yep.
But I gotta say, I'm so used to her not having identity that this feels off.
It does kind of. I'm like, okay, why?
Of all characters, she doesn't need it.
Particularly when they embrace the whole she's the ambassador of the Amazons with the whole embassy and stuff, like in the Rucker run.
Well, yeah, but that's not this point. I'm talking, even looking back then, she didn't need it. That's thought it was done because Superman, Batman had one.
Yeah. It's almost like they do that also when they gave her a kid, because Superman and Batman have them. Wonder Woman must have them.
Okay. Yes, Major, I know how vital the budget is, only I don't have any choice. You might say I've caught in a potentially explosive situation. Thanks, Steve. I knew you'd understand. Ooh!
Mm-hmm.
Just look at he's like, oh!
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 hour and 48 minutes later, Grand Central Station. According to the radio show, it's the crossroads of the world. Stand here long enough, they say, and you'll meet everyone you've ever known. But the only people I want to meet are the men I followed from the black sedan to a plane from Washington to LaGuardia Airport and finally to New York City. Now, I will say, if there's one advantage to having Diana is that she can enter a place without being noticed.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That is probably the one advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that she can do it. Because let's be honest, how many times does Wonder Woman just show up as Wonder Woman and just draw too much attention to herself right off the bat? So, and how many times does that cause more of a hindrance?
A lot.
So I will say that's probably the one thing, but unfortunately, you could just work around it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, and finally to New York City, specifically here. I don't know what the men who tried to kill an FBI agent and his prisoner would want on a train, though I can imagine it's not. Hola! A scuffle down on the platform, and two of the men involved are the men from the black sedan. Exit Yeoman Diana Prince and enter Wonder Woman! I must admit, this whole adventure has me somewhat confused. First, these men sponsor an attack of human bombs, and now they insult an old man. Biasino will soon put a stop to that. I've always known some men were brutes, but even a brute must respect age. She is many things, this Amazonian prince says, but above all, she is a woman, with all the strength, will, and sheer determination of the fairer sex, plus the strength of Hercules and the speed of Mercury. Not to mention, wait, that should be speed of
Hermes.
Hermes.
Because Mercury is the Roman god.
I think back then they mixed the two up a lot.
They did confuse. I think at one point DC did say the Romans and the Greeks were the same gods,
which technically they are.
Technically they are. So that's a way to explain this.
Not to mention her own clear code of right and wrong. But what she has witnessed is wrong, and by reflex she has attacked the wrong. And in the only language these human wolves seem to understand: violence, a blow for a blow, injury for injury. Good woman, and that is the most amazing sight I've ever seen. I must assure you. But look who it is!
Albert Einstein.
I have seen much since coming to your fine country, and I am sure I will see a good deal more. I am Albert Einstein, and good woman, I owe you my life. Einstein, why, you're the Nobel Prize winner, the man who discovered relativity. Hardly, sweet Fraulein. I devised a general theory of relativity. Dr. Einstein, thank God you're all right. I shall leave discovery to more adventurous men. And we were lured to another part of the station. Decoyed. I never agreed with the proposal that I be guarded by the FBI. But after this, mein Gott, I am not so sure. Please, next time, do not leave me, yeah? For an old man, I seem to have many enemies. Now, unfortunately, I think this is under the misconception that he was involved with Manhattan when he wasn't.
Okay.
You know that he never really was, not directly.
Mm-hmm.
More than you can know, Herr Juden. More than you can dream. Night and the place is Washington, D.C. 3 hours after the events above. What do you mean it couldn't have happened, Major? I was there. I saw it. Diana, look. I checked with the FBI, and they say there was no attack on one of their agents this afternoon. And for that matter, on Albert Einstein. Steve, there were people there. They saw it. Yeoman, I don't know where you get your information, but someone somewhere is pulling her leg. Oh, that man! Even back then, he was an ass.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't love him, I'd tear him to ribbons. Just do it. Mm-hmm. I'm giving you ammunition. You're not taking it.
Oh, you mean Steve? Yeah. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Just have a villain shoot him. We all know that's much more satisfying.
So the FBI denies any knowledge of what happened this afternoon. Well, we'll soon see. Now, see again, this is where the whole she doesn't need an identity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's not needed.
Mm-hmm.
And for a woman with superpowers, rifling a top secret file is as challenging as unscrewing the lid from a jelly jar. I found it. The agent in this photo. It's the agent I saw attacked by the human bombs. And under his name, a rather cryptic notion, I have friends in the secretary's office. And I'll find out what she knows. Strange. She seemed friendly enough when she first answered the phone. When I mentioned this Manhattan project, she froze up. Something big is happening, and all the secrecy worries me. When men choose to do something particularly awful, they like to draw curtains. For the good of humanity, I must learn what's being hidden. Uh-oh! Baron Blitzkrieg!
Okay.
It's one of Wonder Woman's villains.
Interesting.
Yep. And impossible to pass his reports through usual couriers. He was found last night shot. My turn may be next. The Baron is suspicious of me, but he may not yet know that I am a spy. This morning, soon after the Baron returned from New York, our long-awaited visitor arrived by Japanese sub off the rocky coast of Mexico. At last he comes, mein lieber Zwerg. Now perhaps we may begin, and thus assure our enemy's destruction. Destiny has decreed that we shall be the instrument of the right. It is a glory I welcome, an honor I have craved, a fitting tribute to the genius of Baron Blitzkrieg. Baron Blitzkrieg. Only a few months ago, his name was a whispered rumor among refugees streaming out of Europe, and now he is reality. That he is Persian nobility, there is no doubt. And that he is a personal favorite of the Fuhrer is also well known, evidenced by Hitler's many visits to the Baron's Rhineland castle before the war. What his true name is and may never know. Well, we may never know, though we do know he commanded a concentration camp in Poland in 1940, and that it was there a young Jewish chemist shattered his face with a thrown bottle of acid. How the man hid the bottle is still a mystery. Though the facts of Baron's operation are documented history, the effort to save his face was unsuccessful. And so the Fuhrer ordered the doctors provide the Baron with something else. Instead, an experimental series of drugs designed to release the mind's full potential. Not that crap again! These drugs gave the Baron the ability to control his body's full energy on store at any given moment, providing him with vast strength, a horrific mass, and lightning speed to fit his new name, coined by Hitler himself in the honor of German tactics, the name of Baron Blitzkrieg, shown in full detail in World's Finest 246. And so through the gentle Pacific waters, a hulking figure strides towards shore, motions defined more by grace than strength. Ah, so now you join us, my friend, from the east. I trust your journey was pleasant. A journey is a journey, no more important than one's destination. My emperor has bidden me come to this place, which I have done. He has told me to heed your instructions, which I shall do. More than this, we need not say. I am Sumo, a samurai, and samurai have no patience for idle chatter. A man of purpose. I prefer men of purpose, Sumo-san. Their goals make them so predictable. And a predictable man is a man I can trust. The prisoner you must interrogate is in this room where he... Gut in Hebel! He's free! I'll die first! I'll make you kill me! Nonsense, my good man. No one wants to kill you. We're all friends here. Surely that's clear by now. And swine! And swine! If this man escaped, your lives would be forfeit. You see what animals I'm forced to work with, samurai. I can use a man with a delicate touch to interrogate this American. I am told that you are such a man. Take him then. Let us see how your Eastern techniques compare with the method of the Dutchland. The towering Oriental makes no verbal reply. Instead, he lifts the prisoner as a child might lift a favorite doll. Holding the man, Sumo searches the depths of the prisoner's eyes, and something inexplicable. And somehow, inexplicably, there is contact. Atomic fission reactor, 2 sections of model, Los Alamos, Oak Ridge. Then gently, the prisoners return to the floor, as limp now as that child's ragdoll. Unusual. I have heard you control some mystic force within you, but to see it used before my eyes, it's uncanny. My friend, you have done us both a great service. Our intelligence men kidnapped the scientist some weeks ago, and though we gained general information concerning this Manhattan project, only today we've been given locations. I did as my emperor ordered. I do not need your gratitude, nor do I wish it. Nevertheless, with what we know now, we can steal those 2 sections of the reactor, Mine Oriental and Fruand, and once we possess those, can the world be far behind? The samurai remains impassive, but his eyes are cold and grim. The War Department, Washington, D.C., like the boxes of a Chinese puzzle, there are layers beneath layers, each more secret than the layer above. To the Commander-in-Chief, Mr. President, according to sources within the Combined Service Intelligence Command, the cause of this morning's blackout in the command center is still unknown, but we have investigated every possible explanation from technical to sabotage, and we can only believe that in the bottommost layer, the Intelligence Command Center, where every element of top secret information is collected and analyzed. A good thing I still have my security pass from the time Steve brought me here in May. If I'm going to find the answers I need anywhere in Washington, I'll find them here. And once again, here's probably one of the few benefits of our identity. Wonder Woman would not be allowed in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so again, that's the other use for it.
Mm-hmm.
That door, it's marked with the same security class as the file I examined in the Combined Service office last night. I must get past that MP, so I'll need a small diversion. With all the electrical machinery in this room, it's a wonder they don't blow a fuse. Jing! Oh, she used her bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
For crying out loud, who turned out the lights? I did, friend, and I hope they stay out long enough for me to find a file marked Manhattan. Combination locks on these cabinets, good enough to thwart a potential spy, but hardly determined to a woman with an Amazon's touch. Ah, here we are. And hey, I heard something. Someone's in this room. Stay where you are, or I'll. Sorry, soldier. Chunk. But I have a bad feeling about this Manhattan Project. A feeling I can't explain, other than to call it intuition. Much as I love America, it is a country ruled by men, and men are sometimes foolish, blind to their humane responsibility. It is just possible that Americans are involved in something dangerous to their whole nation and perhaps the world. I know once I've read this file, I only pray my intuition is wrong. This floor is momentarily deserted. I think it's safe to return to my office. But when Yeoman Diana Priest opens the appropriated file and scans the red ink pages within, her worst fears are realized. What? It's horrible, like a nightmare. Athena, help me. I've got to do something. But what? Uh-oh. So she just found out what the Manhattan Project is. The answer, when it comes, is less a solution than a course of action. Confused and uncertain, Wonder Woman takes to the sky, flying southeast from Washington to the only place on Earth she can truly call home, the C-shaped jewel named Paradise Island, hidden in the very heart of the legendary Bermuda Triangle. What?
Bermuda Triangle?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad they dropped that. This land of peace and love has existed for twice 1,000 years. Can she just say 2,000 years? It is an isle ruled by women, for women alone. And it is this, they say, which lies at the core of the island's beauty and serenity. Mother, I need your counsel. I'm not used to Hippolyta being blonde. Are you?
I mean, I know they brought it back for Azzarello, but I kind of prefer the brunette.
I know, or black, whichever.
Yeah, whichever.
And Diana, my child, you have only to ask, and what wisdom I have is yours. But my dear, you seem troubled. Have you wearied of man's world at last? And will you now return to us, your sisters? It's not that, Mother, though part of my fears are founded on man's weakness for violence and my belief that even a good man may use any means to achieve victory over his enemies, though by doing so, he becomes as bad as they are. Mother, the Americans are building a bomb based on the principle of atomic fission, an atom bomb capable of destroying 100,000 lives indiscriminately. They're building this bomb because they fear their enemies will build one first. But Mother, once the Americans have the bomb, I am afraid they may use it, and so unleash demons more terrible than those feared by Pandora. We must do something, Queen Mother. We must! You care for these Americans, don't you, Diana? Yes, I can see you do. Come, child, we shall talk, and you and I shall think. And when we are finished, your choice will be clear. Now, this is the part where I can agree with it. It's how Diana goes about it that's going to be the problem. And while the Amazon princess examines the alternative, several hundred miles distant and an hour later, a red and blue figure drops earthward to Metropolis. He drops towards one particular building and home of the world's largest newspaper, whose top reporter is none other than the Man of Tomorrow, disguised as meek and mild Clark Kent. Hello, Lois. Have any trouble getting back from Midway? Clark Kent! Oh, if you weren't such a milksop, I could punch you right in the nose. Because of you, Mr. Kent, I spent the last 36 hours on Navy planes racing back from the Mid-Pacific. I thought you were going to beat me to Metropolis with the Midway photos. But when I got here only an hour ago, Perry told me you never showed up. I did all that rushing for nothing. Miss Lane, Mr. Kent, if the two of you wouldn't mind, we have a newspaper to publish, and one of you so-called star reporters better get his butt in gear, or we won't have a lead for page one. Is that clear, Lane? Is that understandable, Kent? Yes, Perry. I mean, Mr. White. Perfectly clear, sir. Like a bell. So don't stand there like idiots. Get cracking now. Yes, sir. Anything you say. Horace Greeley, where are you when we need you? This is all your fault, Clark. If you hadn't disappeared, we'd have finished this Midway story hours ago. Had this Midway story finished hours ago. Sorry, Lois. I guess. Great Caesar's ghost. This is incredible. News just over the teletype. Chicago's being attacked, not by Nazis, but by Wonder Woman. Heaven help us all. She's gone crazy. The Midway story will have to wait. This is a job for Superman. See what I mean? Would you agree with that?
That's her decision to just attack?
Yes.
See
what I mean?
Yeah.
In the years since he arrived on Earth, and a rocket blasted from the exploding world of Krypton, Superman has seen much that would astound an ordinary man, and much that would leave a mortal man trembling. but never until the day as he beheld a sight such as this. And perhaps for the first time in his superhuman life, Superman fully understands the meaning of mortal fear. Good Lord! Wonder Woman on... the Superman Wonder Woman battle over Lake Michigan. Good Lord. Wonder Woman must be insane. Smash up an abandoned building only yards from a busy intersection? I've fought super-powered foes before, but how could I hope to defeat her? Come on, next page. Perhaps I can reason with her, calm her down. Wonder Woman, listen to me. In the name of the Justice Society, you can't, of which both she and Superman are members. See All-Star Comics for more info. So this is what to be obviously this is the Earth's 2 Superman, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Superman, I hope you forgive me, but I can't let anyone interfere with what I'm doing. Not even you. I don't believe it. Wonder Woman hit me. She actually hit me. Even if she is a woman, no one treats me that way. And I mean no one. Superman, you've made the mistake of your life. I came to Chicago to destroy a nuclear reactor built somewhere on the University of Chicago campus. And that's exactly what I plan to do. So that's why she came with to destroy the reactor.
Yeah.
But after I've dealt with you, men are all alike. Even Supermen involving themselves where they don't belong. All for the sake of their masculine honor. An honor that causes war, Superman. An honor that kills. Wonder Woman, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm talking about life and death, Superman. About the countless thousands of lives to be lost if atomic weapons becomes a reality. The decision to destroy the American Atomic Project was not an easy one, my friend. I believe in American morality, and I want desperately to believe they wouldn't use such a bomb. But my mother advised me to remove the atomic temptation, and remove it I shall. She's angry, and she honestly believes she's right. But I've lived in America, and I trust my adopted country. And from the briefing I was given by the Secretary of War, I know we don't have a choice but to... The building! It's coming down! Heavenly Hera, no! But even 100 tons of collapsed brick and steel prove insufficient to harm a son of Krypton, though it does cause them to take pause. Wonder Woman, we can't keep fighting, even though we've only demolished condemned warehouses. Of course.
Avoid collateral damage.
And sooner or later, someone is bound to get hurt. Then you give in? No. I'm proposing we settle our disagreement the only way possible since our ideas are so totally opposed. A trial by combat, somewhere where no one can be harmed but you and me. Agreed. But where? Oh, we'll think of something. And Tableau, the Manhattan Project Research Center at Los Alamos, New Mexico, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. At dusk, 1 hour before the previous scene. All right, 10 minutes more and the moment will be upon us. We must strike, my ally and myself, at the same instant, though we are separated by 1,000 miles. Tableau, the Manhattan Research Project at Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Sumo should be in position. Another 28 seconds and we strike. Unaware of the events about to unravel on Earth, Superman and Wonder Woman are at this moment approaching the proposed arena for their combat. It is a place where no creature exists to be harmed, a land devoid of structure or artifacts, a world totally barren. What more fitting locale for a world-shaking battle? Where else in the universe than the Earth's own sister, the Moon? Superman, we seem to have stumbled on the ruins here in Tycho Crater. Ruins like I've ever seen. I see them, Wonder Woman, and I'd like to study them after we conclude our contest. Did you hear me? These micro communicators you designed work perfectly, Superman. But still, a discovery like this is so important. That was foolish, Wonder Woman. You were talking when you should have been watching. Superman may be my friend, but in question of conscience, simple and friends simply don't count. There is no sound in airless space, and more the pity, for never has a blow been struck like this one. And word struck on Earth, the blast would echo for 100 miles. I've been clumsy, unconsciously pulling my punches because the Amazon is both a woman and a friend. As of right now, that's finished. Even if I hate myself in the morning, I've got to play for keeps. And if that means being tough, then I'll be tough. Superman, that strange glow, these ruins are radioactive. There's only one explanation, one horrible possibility. The people who lived here died in an atomic war. Civilization on the moon that had that atomic war too.
Oh God.
Corny.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know what they're trying to go. Oh, we shouldn't develop nukes because we'll end up like that society on the moon.
Yep. Superman, didn't you hear me? Apparently not. Or he didn't, and he did. He just doesn't care. And as the battle rages 240,000 miles above the war-scarred Earth at Los Alamos, New Mexico, another battle begins. On much to the surprise of two bored sentries, who belatedly learned that even a man with a sword can prove an overwhelming force if the man willing to blade is a soldier named Sumo, one and last true samurai of Japan. Well, at that same instant in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, another superhuman warrior mounts an assault of his own, not upon the well-defended entrance to the Manhattan Project, but rather on a relatively unprotected guard tower. For 1 second, concentrating the total energy of his body, Blitzkrieg becomes a living missile, packing the power of a bursting shell into a single, devastating blow. Tableau, Los Alamos. According to the information I garnered from Blitzkrieg's kidnapped scientists, one half of the reactor model is here in the central building. If it is indeed here, then I shall seize it. Ooh, he killed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the honor of my emperor, and the honor of Japan. What in the name of sanity? No, you can't take that. No, it's not. It is not seemly for a samurai to argue. So I shall not. I shall take what I have come for, and I shall leave. That's what you think, Jap. Hold your fire, men. Grab him, but don't harm that machine. Most honorable lieutenant, you will find that most difficult. Emperor, what have you condemned and commanded I have done? Now I must go home. Tableau, Oak Ridge. Step 1, completed. The guards are out of action, and the fence is down. Alarms on soldiers will be here at any moment. I must be prepared. I've always wondered what the Amerikaners see in the game of baseball, but now at last I understand. Attune the models in the laboratory. Find it while I silence that irritating alarm. Ha! If my dearer could see this, he would be proud, as I am proud. Proud of the Reich and proud of its glorious science. Herr Baron, we have the model. Sir Gut, time then for our rendezvous with the Oriental. And after that, time at last for home. Mount Palomar Observatory, 26 minutes later. Washington's going crazy. Our most crucial weapon project, stolen from right under our nose. That's not all, General. Secretary Stimson told us to call Superman for help. And after we issue a nationwide bulletin, we finally get a report from this boy, Professor Adamson. Well, man, if you know anything about Superman's whereabouts, you better. Yes, well, General, I thought you'd been told we found Superman, all right? Where is he? The moon, General. He's on the moon. 15 minutes later, after the general has recovered from a stun paralysis not dissimilar to shell shock, our two heroes find their conflict interrupted by a phenomenon at first confusing and then distressing. Superman, am I hallucinating? Or are the lights on America's coast blinking on and off? If it is a hallucination, Wonder Woman, it's one we share. Maybe it's the effect of outer space. Or, wait, there's a pet. So we never saw much of the battle?
Mm-hmm.
It's Pinky and the Blighter. It's Morse code. Great Krypton. It's an SOS. Meanwhile, at Blitzkrieg Mexican headquarters, something's wrong. Sumo should have been here by now. But there's no sign of his auto and gyro, and no sign of him. Word, where is he? I don't know, mein Herr. Sumo never arrived. Gott in Himmel. If that Oriental has betrayed me, pulled that what the Amerikaners call the double cross, I will track him down and skin him alive. In Washington, an early evening drizzle has turned to rain, and the tarmac of Washington International Airport gleams like oil in the yellow hanger lights. Grateful you came, Superman, Wonder Woman, and now that I've explained the situation, is there anything either of you can do? Oh, I don't approve of your desire for atomic weaponry, Mr. Secretary, but I want to keep it out of the Nazis' hand as much as you do. Thank God. I'll help you find the model parts, and so I'm sure with Superman. There's one thing I don't quite follow, Mr. Secretary. When you briefed me last night, you told me the U.S. was months away from creating a sustained nuclear reactor. More precisely, the first self-sustaining nuclear reaction was created at the University of Chicago on December 2nd, 1942. Yet now you tell us a working model was stolen a few hours ago. My question is, how? I've asked our brain boys the same thing, Superman, and frankly, their answer confused even me. Apparently, the smaller model is highly unstable. Yes, it works, but due to some faulty element in the mechanism, the reactor may very well explode on activation. That's why it was stored in 2 sections, for safety as well as security. Don't worry, Mr. Secretary, we'll get your reactor back. Afterwards, Wonder Woman, maybe we can reason out our little disagreement, okay? As you say, Superman, time enough for arguments later, after we've saved the world. I know she's flying in a plane, but I'll never understand why I can barely see it. In any case, God go with you, Wonder Woman. God goes with you both. As planned, the heroes split up. Superman heading south and the Amazon streaking west. This highly sensitive Geiger counter supplied by the War Department seems to be working as expected. One half of the reactor model is heading towards the Pacific. And if my guesswork is as good as I suspect, it is that particular half is on its way to Japan. 10 hours later, as the dawn sun brightens, the sea 15 miles from the Japanese mainland, something ahead. An American fighter attack. Japanese Zeros, American Zeros. They're attacking 3 of them against one lone plane. They must believe they have easy odds, but they're wrong. As Steve Trevor might say, dead wrong. Oh, she looks mad.
Oh, that's even more ironic because currently Steve Trevor's dead. Ha ha!
And whilst Wonder Woman begins a murderous dogfight 8,000 miles away,
murderous dogfight.
We're giving that look on her face.
But it's in the middle of a war.
Must be something wrong with the miniature Geiger counter. First it led me to Mexico, and now it brought me to Louisiana. Whoever has my half of the reactor must be moving around. But why? I have an intuition I'll learn the answer here. The Geiger counter has finally zeroed in, which means the model half is somewhere in New Orleans. Since the counter can't be more specific, the search is up to me now. It is Le Superman. Really, Hank? Save the phony accent for the tourists, will ya? Hey, it's him, just like in the newsreel. Somebody buy me a drink. Somebody? Anybody? I'll buy you breakfast, friend, if you'll answer a few questions. First, how long have you been here? Since 39. Now, did I get my drink? No. I mean, have you been here all night? Oh, sure. Since yesterday. Hey, as a matter of fact. See anyone unusual? Anyone with an accent not French? Listen, this is New Orleans. Everybody's unusual, especially those guys last night. What guys? Guys who went in there, yelled at me when I asked them for a drink, used some kind of foreign language, which I was a swine. That's it. That's what they said. My friend, you've done a service for your country. Does that mean I get my drink? Breakfast. And I'll get it after I make a few arrests. I will stay here. I won't be long. In New Orleans, there are several famous restaurants. And one of those restaurants, one is world known for a spectacular breakfast. These men will soon regret they weren't at Brennan's for breakfast this morning. Instead, they've eaten here. And they're about to be joined by Superman. Mein lieber Gott! Where? On Hanshan, Japan, main island of the Japanese Empire. As the morning sun reaches higher into the sky, an unearthly roar breaks the dawn silence over the district of Yamaguchi, and settling at last to an animal-like growl as Wonder Woman's invisible robot plane and lands gently on the edge of a mountain and village, where a silent samurai stands waiting, his face devoid of all emotion. It won't be long before more Zeros follow the ones I knocked out of the sky a while ago. So if you know where the stolen reactor half is being kept, my friend, I suggest you tell me now. Most sorry, but I cannot. You fit the description of the man who attacked Los Alamos, and this is the spot my Geiger counter indicated. So if you're being so stubborn, regrettably no. I have no wish for combat with you, woman, but this is a matter of honor. Though I disagree with the war ministers who have led my country into this conflict, I have no choice but to obey them. Such is the will of my emperor, and he is my God. Try to take the reactor model, and you will die. I believe you, but I also believe this. No matter what your strengths, no man can defeat an Amazon. So sorry, but I am more than a man, and more than a samurai. I have the will. I have the power. Speaking softly with the calm confidence of a man trying to explain the absurdity of a contemplated deed, Sumo tells of his childhood. He speaks of the years of training at the school, of an ancient samurai known only as the Enlightened One. He tells how of all the Enlightened One students, only he was chosen to sip the sacred potion of power, composed of special herbs and forbidden roots. He speaks of the change which came over him. On 1 year, he grew to his present height, became stronger, more agile, faster, now possessing a control of his physical senses, which would make a sighted man appear blind, a hearing man seem deaf. And as the man speaks, Wonder Woman listens and knows what he says is true. I'm sorry too, Sumo, but this is a deadly game we're playing, and now it has to end. Woman, you make me sad. I have betrayed one man this day, a man who is my country's ally. I did this because I do not wish his country to have this weapon, any more than I wish it to belong to yours. Such a device must serve Nippon, for victory is our destiny, regardless of cost. Men, you're all alike. You worship war and triumph, and you can't understand atomic war is a war you cannot win. I'd like to argue this with you in greater detail, but now is not the time or place. Give me that model. None of the saboteurs has time to so much as breathe before the man of steel is among them like a whirlwind. Moving so quickly, he's little more than a blur. Superman strikes one another, a third, a fourth. Before 6 seconds have passed, the saboteurs are down, though the battle is by no means done. You and such untidiness. You're untidy, Mon Air Superman. It ill suits a fighter of your raw power. I, however, am a student of order. Who? And this is how and why I shall prevail. The untidy man expects nothing. The orderly man prepares for everything. And he who is prepared survives. Uncanny. He's as strong as Wonder Woman, if not stronger. Bullshit. Great Scott, if we're evenly matched, how on earth can I defeat him? How fortunate for the right that I and my men came to the city for a rendezvous with one of our U-boats. How fortunate that you and I should meet, that I may show the world who is the most powerful, and by my triumph, ported the inevitable victory of the fatherland. I owe you my gratitude, Air Superman. You give me the perfect opportunity to test the full limits of my mental energies by smashing you to bloody pulp. There's a saying in America, Nazi, about counting one's chickens before you hatch the egg. I'm not finished yet. Not by a long shot. Heat vision and Verdemont, Amerikaner. You might have killed me. You're not invulnerable, eh, Nazi? Well, now, isn't that just fascinating? And as the man of tomorrow conceives a new strategy elsewhere in the world, and Amazon Princess continues a conflict of her own. My struggle with Superman must have dazed me more than I guessed. I have to summon all my Amazonian resistance before Sumo takes the advantage permanently. He's fast, experienced. I can't relax for a moment because if I do, I'll die. It's time to end this battle with my magic lasso. Once I loop him with it, he'll be forced to obey me. Something in his eyes. I don't believe it. He caught my lasso before it could reach him. He's faster than any man has a right to be, but I'm fast too. And if I can't use my lasso, then I'll use my fighting skill. In fact, against this man, I'm glad to beat him on his own terms. Right now! Score 1 down, 1 to go. Fool, resistance is futile. Surrender to the reality of the audience supremacy, or suffer most painfully. Keep yapping, pal. I just love to hear you talk, particularly when it means you haven't guessed what I'm doing. Shay, haven't I seen you somewhere before? Can't the guy take an old nap without somebody having a party? Sheesh, it ain't even Mardi Gras. I noticed since we've been fighting that Blitzkrieg only uses one superpower at a time. I'll bet he can't use both super strength and invulnerability because he'd be forced to split his energies. So while he's concentrating on fighting with me with super strength, I'll attack his invulnerability. What I'm going to try is a gambit used by professional boxers called the 5-blow combination. No one punch is enough to hurt him, but together they should overload his pain centers and literally short-circuit his mind. Face facts, Baron. You've been beaten by a Blitzkrieg! Pedestrians scream and shout. Automobiles screech to a halt. But suddenly, a kind of hushed silence falls over the street as Superman approaches his vanquished foe and stands staring at an unconscious form. Then suddenly, don't move, my friend. He may only be faking. Who the? Blitzkrieg calls me Zwerg. He thinks I'm his assistant. Actually, the real Zwerg was kidnapped by the OSS months ago, and I was sent to Blitzkrieg in his place to watch him, learn his plans, and report to the War Department. I would have informed Washington of the Baron's plans, but there was just no way to get the message through. Unfortunately, my contact was discovered and killed a few days ago. And so, before the FBI has been informed and the saboteurs removed, two freedom fighters bid each other farewell and part each to attend to his duty, each a hero born. Some minutes later, at the prearranged meeting place in the middle of the vast Pacific, it seems we both won our battle, Superman. A pity we can't resolve our own disagreements so easily. Nothing's easy about it, Wonder Woman. Baron Blitzkrieg had me going for a while there. Now, if it's okay with you, I'll bring the reactor model back to Oak Ridge while you take our two friends to Washington. I'm not sure I like that, Superman. I still don't think it's safe for any country to possess an atomic weapon. And I'm not certain I want to help you return America's device until we have a chance to study the problem completely. Wonder Woman, I won't argue with you. Either the model goes with me or I... Superman, wait! Something's horribly wrong. The reactor, it's been activated. Great Krypton. How? In one shattering instant, Superman remembers Baron Blitzkrieg's command of mental energy and realizes too late that the good Baron has been feigning unconsciousness precisely for the purpose to gain access to both model reactor halves and to transform them with psychic force into a weapon of irresistible power. So now, at last, we see who is the victor and who is the vanquished. If you fall, so shall the world first. A united Europe under Germany, and then a united Earth, and the beginning of the 1,000-year Reich. No, madman, I claim the reactor for my emperor. If Nippon cannot have this weapon, then neither shall Germany. Summoning all of his pent-up rage, the samurai attacks, and as he and his enemy fall, the death weapon rolls free. While Sumo distracts the Baron, I have time for one shot at destroying that reactor before either of them can capture it. From what I understand, the device functions through a controlled nuclear reaction. Let's see what effect a dose of my X-ray vision will have on the model's inner mechanism, off-balancing the radioactive core and setting us free. That isn't all you've done, Superman. At Paradise Island, I learned the fundamentals of nuclear technology. Without meaning to, you've turned that model into a bomb. Sumo, Blitzkrieg, hurry, we have to flee. Tricks, deceit. I will never leave without the weapon. Try to take me, and I will fight like a tiger and die like a samurai. They have no time to argue, and so they do what they must. Beneath them, the senseless combat between Baron and samurai continues until it ends in an instant holocaust. According to history, the first atomic explosion occurred at 5:30 a.m. on July 16, 1945, at the Alamogordo New Mexico Air Base. Such is history. The truth, however, is this. On June 12, 1942, at 9:32 p.m. of a summer's eve, Prometheus returned to Earth, and for one hellish moment, the sun seemed to kiss the sky. From that moment on, the world will never be the same. Glad you came my dear. Very glad you came. I've heard so much about you, but to see you, yes, that's something else. Mr. President, I brought Wonder Woman here to meet you because I want her to have your personal assurance that the United States will never use an atomic weapon bomb as an actual weapon of war. Tell her, as I've been told, that America would use the bomb only in a demonstration to end the threat of war forever. Please, sir, it's important. My dear, I understand your fears, and well aware of the wait. Listen to how he phrases it. Well, of which war can bring to bear. I know as well as any man that the pressure may sometimes drive a leader to acts of desperation, acts which, under other circumstances, might be called immoral. But I promise you this, my dear, as long as I am president, America will never use the bomb to kill. Never.
Okay.
Satisfied? Yes and no. I believe President Roosevelt, and I trust him. And I also accept the inevitability of an atomic bomb. Yet I can't help feeling frightened. Even if Pandora never opened her box, someday someone would. Once the forbidden box exists, it must be opened. If not by Pandora, then by someone else. If not this president, then another. And once the demons escape, they can never be recaptured. Not if we try and try to the very end of time. Come on. Next page, come on. Oh, that was it.
Not bad.
So what did you think?
That was fun. I like the bashing of Steve Trevor. That was fun.
Yeah, but see what I mean about Diana being more in the wrong?
Yeah, the way she reacts by just showing up there and just like attacking. I'm like, yeah, what do you think it's going to look like?
And Hippolyta told her to do that.
She told to remove the temptation. She didn't necessarily mean attack the place.
True, but again, this is what I mean. Like, her reasons were sound.
Yeah, she had the right intentions. It's just, again, I'm like, why?
I don't know how else did she do it. She knows she couldn't convince them. I mean, I get it. It does feel like it's the only way. It does feel like it, doesn't it?
To a degree, but I'm like, I'm sick of them trying to, of DC constantly doing this where they make Diana like this bloodthirsty warrior.
But yeah, but I don't think it was meant to be a bloodthirsty warrior per se.
I mean, she just attacks. That's her first option.
That's true, but overall, what do you think about her, aside from that attacking, her overall characterization, not the greatest. This doesn't do her much of a service. This doesn't do her a good service, does it?
No, it does not at all. It really does not.
Of course, if there's one benefit you can say, it's Earth 2 Wonder Woman.
Except here's the thing. Didn't the JSA exist on Earth Prime?
No.
Yeah.
It was always Earth 2 first. No, this is still.
At this point, yes. Okay, I see that. Yeah.
Remember, this is still the 1970s.
Okay, that makes sense.
1977.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
So this has to be Earth 2.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, with that in mind, I mean, again, overall, the artwork was gorgeous, though, wasn't it?
Artwork was good. I like that one.
And again, also, I like how Diana looks beautiful, but not sexual.
Yeah, they didn't sexualize her. They could have, but they didn't.
Yep. But what do you think about the villains?
Pretty good. Pretty interesting.
I prefer Blitzkrieg over Sumo.
Yeah. Because
his powers were more
Sumo
interesting.
Was a little stereotypical.
Yeah, whereas Blitzkrieg, his powers were interesting. He put all of his forces into one blow, all of his energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
that is kind of cool.
Again, the plot is an interesting one, especially since this clearly had to come out after the Manhattan Project report was made public.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the fact that the end, Lois has every right to be mad here. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, because Clark just ditched her. He just ditched her.
That is funny. He's like, I'm out.
Yep. But again, the fact that this was Diana's answer, we don't get much of a fight.
No, we don't.
Even here, it's like, what about this ruins? We don't see much else after that. It's like, now was this ruin? I gotta look up one thing. Was this ruins on the moon introduced somewhere else?
It could, because that is kind of weird, because I'm like, wait a minute here.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to look it up. Earth 2. Does it say anything? There's a beast there. There was a civilization on Lunaria, but that was all on Earth 1. Of course, it's inhabited by a Cyclops-like race. Solomon Grundy was left there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't mention much about that other race on there. Or like the Lunarians.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Lunarians did exist there. So yeah, that's all we know. But yeah, again, this part, and again, overall, not as good as the last book.
No, definitely not as good.
Even though I would say though, but I will say though, it's classical.
It's classic. It's very classic.
Not a classic, but classical.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm. I think.
Like, it's old-fashioned. It feels really good, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, you could chalk a lot of its issues up for the times.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And like I said, Diana's not done favorably, but still better than King.
Dude, Again, Clunrad is better than King.
I will still argue that because at least Clunrad was boring.
I'd rather have boring.
Not me. Boring is more devastating.
Well, let me put it this way. So is the King run. It's just a matter of which one is more boring.
I find at least there'll be some, I will just say this, better artwork on the King run.
Well, yeah, because he gets all the best artists, and Semper is a really good artist.
Whereas Clunan, unfortunately, had to just deal with whatever artist they could be given, which, if you ask me, is a lot worse to do for a Wonder Woman book.
Yeah, Tamaki was a better Wonder Woman writer.
That's damning coming from you.
Yes, exactly, right?
Yep. But again, overall, fun, but hey, I'm interested to see what you and Britt would ever talk about this book.
I think we talked about it once, I forget.
Oh, you did?
I think we mentioned it once on a previous episode. I have to look back.
I'm saying a thorough discussion, like talking about just say like Superman versus Wonder Woman, the idea in general.
I think we did. I think I know we did, like them fighting at one point in one of the episodes.
But now that you know the context,
yeah,
it's groaning, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Again, like we can all agree. Her reasons were good. Her message sucked.
Yeah, it's just more of DC not understanding Wonder Woman.
Not at all, but still, again, better than some of the worst handlings we've had.
Because she would meet. Here's what Wonder Woman would do in this situation. She would meet with the president and say, "Don't do this."
I hate to say it, that was more of a later development for her. That's something Perez gave her more. Beforehand, she was just traditional superhero.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying though. She was more traditional superhero where it's always fist first, talk later.
Okay, I see. But still, it's like you're not advancing your cause.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So eventually Perez was everything we know about Wonder Woman came from post-crisis. Don't ever take anything from pre-crisis. Pre-crisis is more about what we've been getting closer to the warrior type. But there's a reason why there's that the clash between types. Because unfortunately, you either think of her as the pure superhero or make love, not war.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what King is trying to reference, because he also weighs heavily on the warrior side.
That's true, but I will say though, I don't think he's going as overboard with the warrior as some writers have. Because there's some writers who've gone worse.
He's going overboard on the drama, like practically Wonder Woman is the JLA secretary version of the character.
True, but it definitely feels like I feel like he read a lot of this era.
Which I'm like, that's fine, but you also have to base it on the era that you're in. Exactly.
It's like even Loeb and Jim Lee are going to be carrying. They talk things over with Zdarsky on where to pick up and what elements to keep going.
Well, even on that, we're still technically, because of Rebirth, they brought back a lot of the post-crisis era of DC. So technically, you could say we're in the post-crisis thing.
Yep, exactly. But again, overall, fun, entertaining. It was entertaining, at least. Can we at least agree that?
It was great. Yeah, it was a fun comic book.
Yep, that's why I said I give it a 7 out of 10.
I agree.
A lot for the artwork, and the general idea is sound, just not the execution. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this one, Jared. Thank you, everyone else, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See ya.
Take care.